So I'm John Bullough, and I work at the Light and Health Research Center, which is part of the School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. So it may seem a little strange to be involved in signage research, working at a medical school, but my background is in human factors of lighting, primarily things like visibility and how well we can see, and especially in things like transportation, roadways, and so on, that has a lot of impacts on safety, and signs are a big part of that. To me, a sign is a representation of something. I guess its best use is when it actually doesn't necessarily distract from what it is that we're trying to see, right? So you can have a sign that has a paragraph about what's going on along the side of the road, for example, and be very clear and helpful. But in some sense, it's not helpful if it's actually taking our eyes off the road or off the sidewalk or whatever we happen to be going. Ideally, a sign is something that actually is integrated into the whole sort of visual environment and actually draws our eyes naturally to wherever it is that we need to be looking. Signs can be a big help when we can't necessarily stop our cars in the middle of the road and look up a map or an app. The signs, if they're done well and can be done well, can actually help guide someone to where they need to go. So in a way, it gives people that sense of independence that they should have. So a lot of the work that we've been doing, and particularly that I've been focused on, are things like glare or light pollution, things that, if we don't have to have too much brightness of the sign, then we can actually help create a better visual environment for the overall scene. So our work has been focused on some of those questions about, what's the right balance between making sure a sign is bright enough, conspicuous enough to be visible, to be legible very easily, but then not so bright that it actually could become a distraction or take away from being able to see other things. I live in a city called Troy, New York, which is across the river from Albany in upstate. And it's one of these older sort of 19th century cities with a lot of old style architecture. And what's very interesting is there are many of these sort of old painted signs. And one of them is a building which was called the Troy Pork Store. So this was basically a butcher. And it had one of these old early 20th century painted signs on the side of the building, which to me was always fascinating. The signs on that building were terrific.